Peace to all my peoples in the ethos. This is the Real HD Show, the higher discussion. I'm your host, Vic. You have tapped into duohedron this evening. That means uh, happening of divine purpose and divine calling so we can get some things done. Like the intro said, this is your movement awareness to move fearless. We are prime time with a purpose. We are the Real HD Show, the higher discussion. We are that social justice conscious show that tackles the good, the bad, the ugly of our people, and we celebrate it with freedom music. Freedom music happens from 7:30 to 8 p.m. on these airwaves. When you see the flyer, you tap into the call letters below 6K7H55XPU, and those are the letters that you want to be dealing with. You want to put them upstairs in your browser, hit them, and then you could join us right here live on stage, or you can use an avatar. So you know when they ask you to come up, it's just like Zoom. When they ask you to come up and you want to say, "Oh, I just want to come on here, voice only," fine. I want, or you can hit those three right dots in the corner, put up a really beautiful picture of yourself, and rock out with us that way as well. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be in the building showing some brilliance on the higher discussion. That's right. Leave Netflix alone for a minute. Leave all the streaming services alone for a minute. Put the phone to some good use. Get the good use that you could get the good news that you could use right here on the Real HD Show. Because we talk about all things our people. That's right. It doesn't matter what you call yourself, a Moor, a Muslim, you know what I'm saying? 5%er, it doesn't matter what you call yourself, a Mason. We have a common destiny and we need to figure it out. And this is the way that we do it right here on this show. Awareness to move fearless. You know what I'm saying? We play chess, not checkers on this show. So if anyone would like to grow, come on through on the Real HD Show. All right, so tonight we're here for this. Your videos on demand from your point of view and power to the people news. That's right. So I haven't done this in a while. I have about maybe 10 people who submit me articles and different videos about current events, about all sorts of things relating to Black pride, Black culture, Black manifest destiny, and Black excellence. So I try to make it my business when I come on here to, play these things and show these things. But I get so many that I can't show them all. So I have to dedicate a night like tonight while getting the news in to showing these particular items of points of views and news you can use. Awareness to move fearless. All right, here we go. So usually we start the show off with our elders and ancestors blueprint. Why? Because we are sitting on the shoulders of greatness. There is no us without them and no them without us. So we need to pay it forward that way first. Black to the future. So we're going to get into our elders and ancestors blueprint moment. Here we go. All right. So tonight's elders and ancestors blueprint will go to uh, a really dope individual, a really dope orator, an economist, lecturer, and a very astute mind in the Black community. I'm talking about none other than Walter E. Williams. We're going to hear a little bit about Walter E. Williams and some of his perspectives on economy, on the Black diaspora, and life, liberty, and happiness. And some of the things we get wrong, some of the things we get right. This brother is brilliant. Let's check him out. Let's give him a listen, and we can build on the other side. Here we go.
George Mason University, Fairfax, Virginia. My new book. It's called. The title is American Contempt for Liberty, and it's a collection of my syndicated columns over a number of years, and I think I have a couple of essays in there. And the thrust of many arguments that I make about today's Americans is that we have a contempt for personal liberty. And why do I say that? What's my evidence? Well, my initial premise is that I own Walter Williams. I am my private property, and you are your private property. Now, when you start off with when your initial premise is self ownership, then there are certain things that are moral and there's certain things that are immoral. The reason why murder is immoral is that it violates private property. Rape is immoral, it violates private property. Theft is immoral, it violates private property. So when you start off with you get your moral grounding, I think, if you start off with the idea of self ownership. Now, now when I say Americans have contempt for these ideas, the the average American thinks that it is okay for government to forcibly use one person to serve the purpose of somebody else. Now, one example from our history is slavery, because that's a working definition of slavery. Slavery is the forcible use of one person to serve the purpose of somebody else. Now, we have that in a degree today. That is, when the government takes the earnings of one American and gives those earnings to some other American to whom they do not belong, that indeed is the forcible use of one person to serve the purposes of another. Now, my argument is not against taxes. That is, there are certain mandated constitutional functions of the federal government, and we all are obligated to pay our share. But I don't think that there's any moral obligation whatsoever for the government to take my earnings to give to a farmer, to give to a failing business, to give to poor people for food stamp, to give out as foreign aid, because that's forcibly using me to serve the purposes of somebody else. Now, when I object to the forcible use of one person to serve the purpose of another, I'm not saying that we should not help our fellow man in need, but I am saying that I believe in helping our fellow man in need, and I think that it is praiseworthy and laudable when a person reaches into his own pockets to help one's fellow man in need. But when one reaches in somebody else's pockets to help one's fellow man in need, I think is worthy of condemnation. I think it's no less than theft. And for the Christians among us, when God gave Moses the commandment, thou shalt not steal, he did not mean that thou shalt not steal unless you got a majority vote in Congress. But the average American thinks that whatever you can do to get a majority vote in Congress or at the state legislature is somehow all right. And when I say, just ask yourself the question. James Madison was the acknowledged father of our Constitution. And in 1794, Congress appropriated $15,000 to help some French refugees. James Madison stood on the floor of the House irate, and he said, and I'm virtually quoting him, he said, I cannot undertake to lay my finger on that article in the Constitution that authorizes Congress to spend the money of their constituents for the purposes of benevolence.
All right, that was the brilliant scholar Walter Williams. Peace, Sister Aurora. How you doing? Welcome to the Real HD Show. One more again.
As well, but I wanted to hang out with Jeff for a little bit at least.
Oh, that's what's up. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you.
Yeah, you know how you get your good days and your bad days.
Yeah, good days, bad days, halfway days. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Get that good vitamin C up in you. Get that vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got to keep pushing the best way we know how. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
What did you think of the brother Walter Williams and what he
Oh
was
my
saying
gosh, I
about.
love Walter
Are
Williams.
you okay? Okay, talk to
I
us.
love Walter Williams because even coming up in our economics class with this brother named Professor St. James at
Okay,
Nassau Community College, he
okay,
introduced us to Walter Williams, and we were I was breaking my head trying to remember the name Race and Economics.
right.
Um, yeah, Race and Economics. I think that is a wonderful read. Um, I in the store I remember having a few of his books, but Race and Economics was really one of the ones that really touched on how we're viewed in this whole economic scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
And even way back then, where he already told us, that there was going to be a push out, we can see it today, and that's why there's a really, you know, we need to strengthen our end with our black businesses and ownership, because everything they let you know that you don't own it by yourself. Remember, you have to have a license, you have to have this, you have to they control how you're going to have ownership. And so he's great. I recommend anybody read his books.
Yeah, those are all his books on the bottom.
Yeah, Basic Economics was a
State
great.
Against Blacks, 1982.
Hmm.
Hold on a second. Let me see
American
if I can get
Contempt
it.
for Liberty. I mean,
Yeah,
that
American
was a nice
Contemporary. Yeah,
read.
Race and Economics. Up from the Projects. That was a heavy read. Um, Liberty versus Tyranny. Really, really dope.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah,
Got to get your knife. Got to get your knife and fork out in your dictionary and go
that's
to work
right.
reading his stuff, because he's very logistic with the way that he kind of comes across. Well, let
Hmm.
me read for a couple of people who know who he is or didn't see the
Okay.
clip. Walter Williams was an American economist, commentator, and academic. Williams was the John M. Olin Distinguished Professor of Economics at George Mason University, syndicated columnist and author. And he's been around in the circuit scene for a very long time. Born in
Hmm.
1936, died in 2020 in Virginia. Put in a
Yeah.
lot of work, and made the argument, made the very, I guess, uh, X's and O's type of argument against racism and contempt, racism, classism, and
Hmm.
contempt for equality and living in the United States. Very smart, brother. So, in other words, if you took it to court, you couldn't say that we were identity leaning. You couldn't say that we were
Hmm.
using racial politics to describe the injustices that were going on. He was very much by the numbers, very much by the book, very logistic, very uh he cut through the mustard of a lot of nonsense.
Hmm.
Gave it to you straight. Gave it to you very, very straight, which is refreshing. One. Number two, it's a true education. Well, let me stop talking. You talk for the brother. You said you talk a little bit about the brother. You said you had some of his books in your store. Talk to us about why you like the brother and what he had to offer.
Well, when you begin, your education journey, and of course, we all as an entrepreneur, you want to understand how even in owning your own business, just as he described, the body is owned by you, you know, but the state and federal laws make it so that it's a systematic, you know, in your economics that you cannot, you'll never actually be your own because of the laws that they have. For you have to get a license, you have to get this, you have to get that, so the federal government has shown how they they infuse themselves into your own business by creating these policies where you have to pay for a license, you have to pay for
Yeah,
taxes, you have to, you
every every
know
every step of the rung. Yeah,
right. And that's
yeah.
why, and I remember when going to a lecture, I think it was at Columbia, and he was there with Manny Marable, another great brother.
Oh yeah. Oh
Another
yeah. Oh
great
yeah.
brother.
I haven't
And
heard that
so
name in a long time. I'm
I
glad you brought
know.
him up.
And
Dope.
so yeah, and them two, they had, they were the ones that were talking about you can put your name on a dollar because it's not going to grow up around the community but once. It's going to go outside of the community, so you won't never have that dollar again. And
Mm.
that was always a memorable thing because I was putting my name on dollars and to see if it goes back or
Yeah,
whatever.
see if
But
it returns to you.
and see
Yeah,
if it
yeah.
returns to me. Yeah.
Right.
And he says, because most of our dollars are not in the community, they are spent outside of the community.
Mm.
It was great when we were having these discussions, and they used to have a think tank. Manny Marable had a think tank, and you can participate up at Columbia. So
Yes,
I would
yes,
take myself over there, and
yes.
just to infuse in some knowledge about how especially in terms of entrepreneurs, how even in your owning your own, this is why they try to close down vendors, because or then tell the vendor, hey, you need a license to be out here on the street, because the laws in the federal state, they were always going to get their money. Capitalism rules over entrepreneurs, and one of the bigger things was he talked about was socioeconomic. No matter, you can have a billionaire black person, but in the social economic world, he's just a nigga with money. Okay, they don't value
Right,
the same as we would in the community would value. John Johnson, another one. They put us in this socioeconomic thing. Oh well, I don't care how much money he get. He's just another, with money. And so, I mean, the think tanks were usually really good because I would always try to figure out how do I get away from having, to yes, go and have a license. You got to pay. You got to do that. You got to, produce a lot of what we do to have a business. The United States government is making sure that you will share that funds. You will share that money. And in his book on Black economics,
right,
that's where they primarily talked about how our money could grow and should grow, but we end up using banks, and what happens with the banks, the same thing. They're monitoring your ability to make capital, and they're monitoring and making laws so that they have a piece of it. And it's the same. We saw it unfold in April 20, on 420, where the opening of allowable marijuana, because the government understood that there's a lot of money floating around. How do we get it? And just like that, just like the numbers, they took it over and made it lottery. Okay. And still invest in people who are trying to run numbers, just like marijuana.
right,
They took it
right. How
over,
about that?
you
How
know,
about that?
you know, because
Something
they
that
want
was
they
feeding the community for
mm,
decades, but in the early 20th century,
mhm,
and they just made it legal.
they
And
made it legal. They
and
saw the money.
just like weed, there's no
Hmm.
recompense for the people that you harmed. But once you figured out it
Exactly.
was a good thing to do and you could benefit from it, you ran with it. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm. And but
yeah. That's
there was, families put it in for holding a joint at the time,
right,
and
all
there
kind
was
of
no
goofy stuff.
right. There was no forgiveness of their alleged crime. There was no,
Right,
expunging of any of those records. So you have people still here that was just selling weed, and locked up and having records, you know, as drug dealers, and now you're going to allow it. It's the same thing with the prohibition age, you
right,
know, the Kennedy and them folks, you know, they were, of course, against prohibition, and so they were bootleggers, and they were running that back and forth until America said, "This, how we can get into that." And they didn't. It wasn't a matter of caring for the American people; it was a matter of capitalism. And so that's one of the things that I've always remembered, with
Walker.
Dr. Williams,
Yeah,
is basically how he allowed us to see what is behind America's, I should say, the government, in allowing certain businesses to thrive and taking over and making
right,
things with a pen swipe legal. Okay, you can have a prohibition. You know how many people died during that age?
Yeah.
How many? I think how many people were incarcerated or locked up and during that age, and then they find that Kennedy, he got a whole warehouse full, and that's why they made it legal.
Right.
They made it legal. He was running illegally as well, and then they got so much of it that when the government like, okay, Joe,
Right.
we'll make it right. We'll try to make it right for you, and as you said, and never forgiving of those persons who were incarcerated for those same crimes that
Right.
now is not a crime.
Right.
So it's really
So
he brings forth that.
yeah, so if you want a real basic I guess foundational set of how the American government works, how economy is fused into the American government, and basically how by the numbers to protect yourself, run a business, protect yourself, be by the letter, and kind of he gives you I won't say solipsistic, but he gives you the very incremental ways that you can insulate yourself and be aware of what's going on in the
Mm-hmm.
American economy. If you're going to own a business, if you're going to protect your own personal uh, property, you are your personal properties, like he said in
Yep.
the clip. That's why I played it. And if you're going to protect that and anything you earn and distribute throughout this country, please check out brother Walter E. Williams and what he had to say. And that was one of our that was in our elders and ancestors blueprint. But we're gonna keep it moving because we want to get to your VODs today. Let's jump into the AAT report. Here we go. So we're in the middle of an AAT report, our healthy, wealthier, and wiser segment for a brand new you. And I saw something as we, kind of, as I'm preparing for the show and I'm getting all my, my ends together. I saw something and I said, "Oh man, I gotta," because it was a up. I did this a little while ago, and it was on Bill Gates, and it was Bill Gates' influence on food and agriculture and what's going on. So I want to play a little clip of that, and then we'll be back on the other side to talk about it. Here we go.
With your fruits and vegetables, we need to talk about appeal. And what is so appealing about it? Well, it's actually not appealing.
Fair use, fair use.
I'm back to here to tell you how you can take full control of your life by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. So let's get into it.
I don't think this guy is going to rest until he gets inside each and every one of us. First, he plied us with a bunch of shots. You catch my drift. I heard he's a tequila guy, actually. After that, he started sowing his seeds everywhere, like some global GMO harem. Next thing you know, he's forcing his fake meat down our throats. This is getting really gross. He's now onto something only fans could love. It's a problem. I mean, it's a peel. The not at all scary, colorless, odorless, FDA approved coating that keeps fruits and vegetables looking fresh and delicious up to 5 times longer. Safe for human consumption, says the FDA, but have you seen the ingredients? Looks a lot like what they put on McDonald's French fries. Healthy? Not even close. And just like some of his other fluids, these can't be washed off either.
Bill Gates is at it again. Now, of course, some people will say he's not directly doing what people are accusing him of, but what are people saying? Well, he's funded a company that has developed a product that is supposed to coat your fruits and vegetables to give them a longer shelf life. It's called a peel. And a peel came about where it was thought to be something that could be very beneficial to help manufacturers or the food industry manufacturers and food industry suppliers to have a longer shelf life. So that was the idea. But then the rumor started to spread about what exactly is this appeal. Well, now you'll see it on certain fruits and vegetables, in particular avocados, lemons, limes, and oranges. Those are the main contenders that have this coating on them. And we cannot forget about cucumbers. Cucumbers are also on that list as well. So what is it supposed to do? It's supposed to coat it, but what exactly is in this product?
So right there is a big red flag. Today we're going to talk about Bill Gates' appeal and if it's safe. I did a pretty thorough research on Google to see if it was safe, and as I was reading the pages, it looked really safe. In fact, it's been thoroughly fact-checked, so we know it's probably going to be safe and we don't need to look any further. Until I took one additional look at the ingredients of this appeal, and one of the things that was listed is his 99.34% of this product is listed as other ingredients. Other ingredients? It doesn't tell you what's in it. So right there is a big red flag. There's no transparency.
It doesn't go beyond that. So we don't know what the majority of the ingredients are, but there's some suspicion that it is some sort of a wax-like coating or a fat-like coating. Now, this is where the trouble begins, because when it comes to food and food-grade coverings, there are certain coatings are okay as far as the FDA is concerned, and that would include beeswax, carnauba wax, and those kinds of coverings for our fruits and vegetables. If you've noticed that sometimes when you have your fruits and vegetables, in particular things like cucumbers, especially, there appears to be a waxy coating on them. Now that waxy coating is being changed over to a peel, especially if you see the label. The problem is a lot of the ingredients, after digging deep, it's found to be a lot of fats, but they don't call it fat, they call it an emulsifier. When you call something an emulsifier, that's a compound that brings two things together so that they mix easily. Then, technically, it can be defined as being an emulsifier and not a fat. It's all about the chemical makeup of it and the description of it. And the fact that it's not being considered to be any kind of a fat, then that makes it free and clear from the label of being a trans fat. And that is what the appeal group want to avoid. So there's some questioning about whether these are healthy for people or not. The other issue is that about what is the effect of covering those foods with this appeal coating. And then Bill Gates also wanted to extend it to organic fruits and vegetables, which is just beyond measure, because how can you have an organic piece of fruit that is coated in a non-organic level covering?
All right. Now, if you want to go and look at the rest of that, shout out to African Diaspora News Network. Go on there and give them a like and a subscribe and watch the rest of that video. Sister Aurora, what do you think of that video? And are you gonna go test out the Bill Gates peel?
Well, they're starting to do something, because I wouldn't. I've
You go to
never.
the supermarket. Oh, you got that Bill Gates
I
peel
even
on fruit. Which
I
section is
even
that?
avoid the organic things now. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
organic. I'm like, it's not organic if you had to put it together.
Right.
If you had to subsidize or do something, it's not organic. So you just mess with the food. And like she
Yeah.
said, we don't even have an idea of what the other kind of ingredients are. And I thought you're supposed to put them, all ingredients down. So,
The fact that just because you're a economic tycoon like a Bill Gates,
mhm.
you have the authority or the knowledge set to dibble and dabble in whatever you want. Now you're farming, and now you're putting this kind of false organic coating on fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables with all kind of toxic ingredients that lie within
Right.
it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like what? Like I don't. That's how people are tied in. Because
Yeah.
anybody, any normal person that walked up and tried to get amongst the ranks of they'd be asking you for every certification and every degree known to man.
Mhm.
Oh, but you'd need this and you'd need this and then you need this. But then if you got a couple $1 billion, then you don't need those things.
Right.
You can dibble and dabble in whatever you want.
Yeah.
You
And
can,
how do they make it so that you can have something that they're calling organic, but yet they're processing it?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
It's like organic is I grow a potato and I pick that potato, but for them, they're going to do potatoes, but they're going to add these extra things so it can stay longer and all
Yeah.
these artificial coatings. And like you said, and I laugh because now if you go into some of the farmers markets, and I notice the cucumbers are sealed in this really tight plastic,
Uh-huh.
and and when I was at the farmers market the other day, just picking up some things, I was like, why would they do this to this cucumber?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
perfectly fine, but they're wrapping it in this really tight plastic
Yeah.
and calling it
Any
organic.
yeah, any fruits and vegetables you see like that, you want to do a whole line dance away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And go to the other vendor.
Thank you, because it makes it look really nice and the colors shine bright.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? Fruits and vegetables are water soluble, right? Meaning they absorb water,
Mm.
and that's what makes them healthy and viable to eat. And then when they decompose, they lose the water because they're decomposing. It's a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not supposed to have a strawberry last like the lady in Wisconsin. She had a Big Mac in her pocketbook for 30 years.
And just like they do with Twinkies, wasn't it?
Yeah. A
Twinkies,
strawberry is not supposed to last 5 times the amount of the average strawberry. It's not. That's not a flex, folks. It's not. It's not a coupon. It's not an advantage. It's not.
Right.
Fruits are supposed to, when you go to the market, them fruits are supposed to last you about a week. If we telling the truth, you get you a gang of apples, you get you a gang of whatever, bananas, broccoli, you better eat that stuff up or it's going bad. I don't care how well you refrigerate it. I don't care how much salt you throw on it. I don't care how much you try to preserve it. And if it's not going bad in a week, you need to start asking your questions about what did I buy?
Look,
what is this?
Because
you know what I'm saying?
Even like bananas is a good instance. You buy a banana, and so you don't buy so many because you got to eat it in that time.
Right. That part.
Then you look
there
at
you
these
go.
things and like, why are bananas still yellow?
Right.
This is a good banana. It's buy it 2 days ago, eating the bananas. But
yeah, so any young people watching, any of my students watching, please don't buy fruit with the A-peel seal on it. Don't buy fruit with that has a wax coating on it. Try not to buy fruit that's hydroponic without seeds in it. Buy fruit with seeds in it. That's what a fruit is. That's how you make another fruit with seeds.
Yep.
That's how you do it. So if your fruit don't got no seeds in it, it's probably not good for you. If your fruit got waxes and coatings and all type of security measures on it, if it got a lock on it, combination that you got to turn in order to open it, don't eat that fruit. Don't do it. Don't eat the vegetables. Don't.
Telling you.
Yeah. So just wanted to. I kind of touched on that a couple months ago, maybe even last year, but that was kind of an update to the same story. And then we're going to jump into something else that is really interesting. And I want our sisters to pay really close attention to this. This is really important. Please don't do this in your personal practice. I'm just going to play it and we'll get on it. We'll talk about it on the other side. Here we go. AAT report, healthy, wealthy, and wiser.
My headache while pregnant because I don't take my medical advice from a man who doesn't have a degree in science, healthcare, or medicine, and who had a parasitic brain infection and was addicted to heroin for 14 years.
So now women, you want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome? So we already showed you studies from Johns Hopkins, studies from Spain, studies from Europe, studies from Harvard have showed a connection between ADHD, autism, Tourette's, and other things connected to when women take Tylenol when they're pregnant to their children. So we already showed you that. Now I'm going to show you how some people are reacting to that. This is real. So to stick it to Trump, this is what they're doing. Oh, yeah, you can't play it.
No.
So, all right, let's play this one. Oh, wait, can't play that either. So these are these are pregnant women taking Tylenol to stick it to RFK Jr. Now, here's one more. So she's pregnant. She takes out the Tylenol. And you're dancing while you're taking something that's dangerous to your baby. This, I don't even know what to say to this. I mean, let's watch this one. Let's see. Let's see if I can get the. Can we put let's get the volume up.
About to take Tylenol for my headache while pregnant because I don't take my medical advice from a man who doesn't have a degree in science, healthcare, or medicine, and who had a parasitic brain infection and was addicted to heroin for 14 years. Yeah, I'll trust my doctors who have their degree.
All right, there you go. Sister Aurora, what's your thoughts? Have you ever, I'm sure you heard of the story already, right?
Yeah, and not only had the story, but when I remember years back I had joined the lawsuit because they had told us, one, pregnant women, we got to take some. And they
Yeah.
told us you're gonna take Tylenol. It doesn't have the acetaminophen or whatever, the aspirin.
Yeah, acetaminophen, yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying it for me. Yeah, and so it's what was one of the practices that they would tell you. You could only take Tylenol. You can only take Tylenol. Well, I had a child who was diagnosed with autism. And it goes back to that. I remember even one of the what is his name? Oh gosh, I remember. He's a celebrity, but his wife started a campaign because doctors told all of us to take Tylenol. From New York to California, when we get pregnant, don't take anything else. And as your body is forming and growing, there's some pains that are everyday pain, and they would tell you take one Tylenol. And I was trying not to take anything, but
right,
like you were saying, but when you're pregnant,
just erring on the safe side.
And so I mean, that's what they told us all to take as pregnant women.
But now that we have all of these different agencies, groups, research institutes telling us that this is bad or not as good as once prescribed, the reason I wanted to show this was I think we're in a really dangerous time where the rebellion against the powers that be happen at some really dangerous levels. And the cognitive dissonance, there's a cognitive dissonance that happens when you want to rebel, but yet you don't know the information to trust or not trust.
Right.
If that makes sense, of what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And it becomes like this, divergent mentality. And all you want to do is just lash out. And now we have another trend on TikTok and Instagram.
We already know it was
Pregnant
poisonous.
women doing the opposite of what is healthy and taking this stuff. And we've seen autism spike. I mean, I'm an 80s kid. I'm a 70s baby. We've seen autism since the 70s all the way to now spike out of control, like nobody's business. Like 1 in every 8 babies is born with autism.
Yeah. And
so
when it started, it was 1 in 20.
So if someone's telling you that this is possibly a leading cause of babies being born with autism and putting your child on a spectrum one way or the other, why would you do it?
That 21 years ago, they told us that. And so, people were stopping. But when you have these kind of crazy, as you said, rebellious acts, you're not rebelling, you're killing yourself or your child. And and it was the same, like, when Crazy sat there and told everybody to drink bleach. And how many hospitals ended up with people.
But get yourself a drink first, is what he said. Yes. Right? Go to the liquor store, get yourself a drink.
And then take bleach.
And then hit the bleach.
And these fools were doing it.
Right. Right. Hydrochloroquine and all this other crap that they was pushing.
That's not the way to rebel. You know, you need a different,
Yeah, like that's
you need a
wild,
different
man.
way.
So I just wanted to bring that to light. Please don't harm yourself, sisters out here, young sisters.
Yes, please don't.
You pregnant, you want to have a healthy baby, you want to have a healthy family. Don't do things like that. Don't just be in your own bag about meaning mentality about rebelling and do wild and wacky stuff that's gonna harm your
Hmm.
child because you're gonna pay for it down the road. Trust me,
Absolutely.
you're gonna pay
Absolutely.
for it down the road. This might be a moment of freedom and just letting loose, but down the
Hmm.
road when you gotta pay for extra tutoring sessions and you gotta pay for therapy sessions and counseling and you sitting in
Absolutely.
you sitting in disability meetings with your child and
Hmm.
you frustrated because your child is on severe on the spectrum and you don't know how because nobody else in your family is like that.
Right.
Yo, please don't
You're gonna take, don't follow these trends. Don't follow these
yeah, don't follow these
don't follow
trends,
these
don't
people.
incapacitate yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, just wanted to tap into that really quick on the show. um and let's get to what we came to get to tonight, which is this right here. Your VOD from your POV. Videos on demand from your point of view. While we do Power to the People news. Now, I was hoping Brother Mozzie would have joined us by now, but that's cool because he did not. But we can get into this real quick. And if Brother Ruben is watching or Brother Lucky is watching, y'all could jump on because this one is for y'all. Terrence Bud Crawford, boxing star, was held at gunpoint in Omaha, Nebraska, his home area, after he won the championship. Out of control. So he's the hometown hero, uh, Miss Aurora. He's the hometown hero. He even is increasing their bottom line.
Hmm.
He played at a big time football game. Not played, but he made an appearance at a
Right.
big time football game, waving at the fans. Fans going crazy, cheering him on. Bud, Bud, Bud. Bet on Bud. One of the best
Mm.
boxers of the last 20 years, and he's profiled as a black person driving a vehicle. Your thoughts? Held at gunpoint, mind you.
Right. And I mean, it's really getting to the stage here in America that, they're feeling that they have some kind of eligibility to be a-holes and whatever. It's
Oh,
accepted,
certainly. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and it's
yeah,
accepted.
yeah.
And, I'm like, look, sometimes you gotta tell people, don't try to cash a check that's gonna get your ass whipped because you following
Right.
you following a fool. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and you see more and more of that, more and more of
Right.
that. You know,
Exactly.
like, shoot, go ahead if
Craziness.
you want. Like there was a TikTok where the sister was saying, I wish I would, I wish you would, you know,
Right. Right. Like
because the
that's
entitlement
kind of how
is,
it's getting in this
yeah,
day and age, you know?
they're feeling so entitled. Like, yeah, well, I won't get arrested, but you will get killed. Okay, you will. But the entitlement is running. There's the perception that, hey, I can do this because this administration that trickles down to small town law enforcement or whatever it is, says you can get away with it. We got you. Okay. Even in full video, their eyes were lying. My life.
Mm.
And we see it all the time. We see it all the time.
Yeah, so my thing is I remember a time, right? And I'm not that old. I'm only 50, but I remember boxers were like statesmen. So if you were the champ, you were like a statesman. That was like you were like
Yes.
an honorary politician.
Yeah.
You would go amongst the people. The people would really revere your feats in the ring, and
Mhm.
it was like a higher status as a citizen if you were the heavyweight champ of the world or the
Exactly.
boxing champ, right?
Yeah.
And
Even the
now that
welterweight
seems
champ.
to be that that seems to be not so much anymore. Why do you think that has? And all my people who are boxing fans and boxing enthusiasts out there who are listening, why do you think that that's not the way that boxers are revered anymore? What's the reason for that? Are we tired of the sport? Is the sport not respected as much as it used to be? What do y'all think?
Yeah, because too many of the
Sister
new
Aurora, what's your
boxing,
thought?
so many of the new boxing heroes are of color. And again, the
Okay.
isms that
Okay.
run this country help diminish or
Mm,
grow, their folks. I mean, they're still waiting for the great white hope. Remember, wait, okay, you're 50. Okay, I'm way over than you, but the great white hope was this guy called Jerry Corley. He was from Long Island, and they were hoping that he would be able to who was he fighting against? Oh my God. Because he got knocked out, but they're still looking for the great white hope. There was a movie about that long ago with I think Paul Robeson or someone of that stature. But again, they're looking for
mm-hmm.
they're looking
I
to
remember Jerry
prove.
Coon. I
Yeah,
remember
remember
Jerry Coon.
he was the great white hope at the time. And he was on Long Island, so they gave him the key to whatever because we didn't have nothing yet. And it
Right,
was
right. They
amazing.
anointed him before he even fought a fight.
Even before, yep. And, and I remember, the, okay, again, I don't know, but you remember Ernie Shavers? He was big on Long Island. You know, he was put
Yep,
up to
yep.
fight
But I don't
against,
remember him, but come on him.
right. So he was put up to fight Jerry Quarry. And
Jerry Quarry, yep. Yep.
yeah, he, KO'd by Shavers.
Yeah,
KO,
we know how that turned out.
yes. But the whole time that they were celebrating working up to this fight, I mean, again, and then Muhammad Ali was alive because I think he's the one that coined, oh yeah, they're looking for the great white hope. But however it was, they built him up, and I think their side was, like you said, even paying him before he even had a fight. And I was so happy to see Ernie Shavers knock his ass out. But but it was on the technical, of course. But
Right.
yeah, I remember that. I mean, I because everybody was going in, and at that time it was the first time for pay-per-view. So we would all go down to a bar in Hempstead and watch it with a former Jets player owned it. And it was called Avenue D, and we used to always go, but it was down from Hofstra. Yeah, and so, but I remember that Jerry Quarry, the Great White Hope.
Wow, yeah.
And
They'd even made a movie called I don't know if you remember, Damon Wayans was in it. It was called The Great White Hype.
yes, yes, it's a sports.
Damon Wayans played the champion. And I think I think Woody Harrelson was the white boxer. Here, let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, because I
I think
remember
Sam Jackson was in it.
yeah, Sam Jackson was in it, but the white guy, who was it? I mean, he was a great actor. But yeah, if you can find that, because at first it seemed like a spoof on boxing, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was,
that's exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was.
remember it.
It
It was,
yeah, it was Corbin, okay, Sam Jackson, Jamie Foxx, Damon Wayans, Jeff Goldblum, Peter Berg, Corbin Burnson,
Jeff
um,
Goldblum was in there. Corbin Burnson. That's another one.
Rocky Carroll. Remember him from Rock?
Yep, yep. Rocky
Yeah,
Carroll.
he played the brother John Lovitz. Man, that was an all-star. That was an all-star
All
cast. My
Stars cast.
goodness.
Yeah. Excuse me for 1 second.
Wow, for such a lowly movie, that was like a B budget movie. That movie was in and out. But yeah, so I wanted to show real quick a little bit of the footage of what happened to my brother because I of American status and appeal, and still have to go through what you go through as brothers in this country. It's just it it verges on on ridiculousness is what it does. So hopefully it loads up and it plays right for me. We can get into it. Come on now. I got all these advertisements they want to load you up with on the page. All right. Well, we won't go crazy about the video. Yeah. So outside of what the incident, why do you think there's a lack of appreciation for what American black champions do for the American landscape, the economy, the American landscape, what they've done for Vegas just in general? How many like super duper heavyweight fights have been held there from champions at all levels that were black, and they created a culture and I guess a dynamic presence of sports and pageantry and entertainment that goes far beyond anything that America's ever experienced before them. But yet, and I'm talking back to Blackjack Johnson, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, uh, Sugar Ray Robinson, all the greats. In 2025, after almost a century and a quarter, heavyweight fighters still have to go through this sort of discrimination without the um, appreciation for their craft and what they do for the American economy and the American entertainment landscape. Why do you think that is? Say that again. We missed a little bit of what you said.
So what I was saying, when you bring that fight there, not only does it help the arena, but everything around it, hotels, they build up, they build up from the weigh-in if you want to get ticket to get into the weigh-in. And I did that for Mark Breland, if you remember him out of Brooklyn. He
Yes.
fought went to Florida. And so, you kind of get to see everything that they build up for the fight. But
Yeah.
everyone eats the towns that the place is in. It flourishes because they build it up as an event. When they say main event, it's not just that day. It's the weigh-in, it's this, it's all kinds of things.
You might as well have the Olympics come to town.
Exactly. And especially when you had these really famous or really charismatic boxers, like some of these guys were, even like Sugar Ray out of Washington D.C. Remember, he brought attention to middleweight boxing.
Yes.
Nobody used to go to that. Nobody used to go to that, and he brought the attention and the big tickets and the same kind of what you saw Muhammad Ali fight. He brought that to his weight class.
Yeah.
And
of course.
so when you have that kind of thing in a township, especially like you said, Vegas. So hi, you can come here, because everybody.
I mean, when you think of the American cities that benefited from the sport of boxing, you got Atlantic City, you got Vegas, you got Miami, you got Chicago, you got New York. What would the economy in those towns? It would be drastically different. It would be drastically like humdrum if it wasn't for boxing. Think about what would Madison Square Garden be without boxing? Like,
right.
It's just something. But those people are still not regarded and respected the way they should be. He should have a police escort going where he's going, not being held by police.
Right.
You know what I mean? On some like mistaking this, because after they finish harassing them, they're gonna say it's mistaking this or mistaking that, right?
Yeah.
Because once the officer realized that they're messing with the paycheck, And they about to get fired, then they're gonna be like, oh, it's all of the, they're gonna capitulate. They're gonna bend the knee and the I'm sorry's and the, you know what I mean? I smell
Mhm.
weed or some sort of excuse for whatever the injustice they did. And
Right.
it's just ridiculous. Knock it off, man.
Yeah.
Knock it off, stop it. And I hope that Bud Crawford had his lawyer, agent, and publicist on speed dial.
Absolutely.
And as soon as he
Absolutely.
pulled over, he just went boop. And it was
Yep.
like echoed with all four of them taking in everything that was going on. And oh yeah, let me call the DA, let me call the mayor, let me
Mhm.
call the governor, let me call the AG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We gonna get this cat fired tonight. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Crazy stuff, man. So we wish that brother well. He's earned his respect both as a man and
Absolutely.
an athlete. And let my man live. And if you guys can eat off of him in two different world class events, one being boxing, one being college football, then when he resides to being a common man, let him have his liberty, let him have his peace, let him traverse in peace with his family
Mhm.
and do what they do. Leave him alone. He should have a key
Yeah.
to the city. I think he
They
does.
used to do that right, because they did that
I
all
think
the
he
time.
does. I think Omaha gave him the key to the city, but that wasn't good
Wow.
enough not to get pulled over and harassed. But
Mhm.
let's get to this other one right here. Um, that I got going, and this one is from Brother Mozzie. I hope everything is well with you, bro. Hope you can join the show. So we are going to share my screen. We're going to get into this. This is one of Brother Mozzie's uh, video on demand. First on deck. We're going to get into it, and I hope that it. Let me see. Oh, I went to another screen. All right, so I have to share it again. Give me a sec. I will share it again, and we will get into it. All right, here we go. All right.
New
All right, here we
pick,
go.
Jim O'Neill for CDC director is a key strategic move to bring on the biosurveillance state. Let me tell you why. So recently, Susan Menares, who was just confirmed as the CDC director in the Senate hearings, was fired, and now Jim O'Neill has been appointed CDC director. So why did the Trump administration orchestrate this personnel change so suddenly? Well, first of all, if we look at Jim O'Neill, he does not come from a science background.
All right, I'll just read it out. I think we have a little read of it on the side here. So, because it's kind of skipping. Another step
Yeah.
toward the technocratic surveillance state, Jim O'Neill, appointed as acting CDC director, signals more than just a leadership shuffle. It marks a deeper step into the biosurveillance state. Under the banner of public health, we're watching the quiet expansion of systems designed to monitor, track, and catalog human behavior, movement, and biology. The irony of Jim O'Neill stepping in as CDC director is that he is not a medical expert at all.
At
Now,
all.
now we notice that they're doing this more and more. Gates is dealing with food now, and he was a
Mhm.
tech person, right? He's a political insider with ties stretching back to the Bush era. His background is in biotech, investigating government maneuvering, not in science or medicine. Yet now he sits at the helm of the nation's top public health agency. And you know what? My wife needs that job because she's been doing wellness for like 25 years now.
Mhm.
And
And she could do it better than he.
she
She
could
has more
be
credibility than
she
him.
could be in charge of wellness for the CDC. I'm just putting that
Mhm.
out there. All right. So under his leadership, the CDC is not just about disease prevention. It's about expanding biosurveillance, health monitoring, digital IDs, predictive tracking, the vast data collection, are being rebranded as tools of the safety, but safety for whom? O'Neill's appointment highlights how public health is now being leveraged as a political weapon with power consolidated under the guise of care. Wow. Healthcare is being leveraged as a political weapon with power consolidated under the guise of care. Wow. Okay, I think that's all we need for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's powerful. And just like we talked about with the SDGs and the UN, and just like we talked about with the WEF and these ESGs, where they talk about they care about the environment, but yet they got 100,000 rules that everybody across the world is supposed to follow. If they want to care about the environment, we're gonna have 15-minute cities. You can't drive cars. You can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you pass Flatus, you better do it quietly. You better be quiet when you fart. So what do you think about that? What do you think about them quietly just like moving chess pieces into positions that are detrimental to society? Now they're fooling with healthcare, and these people aren't steeped career professionals in these positions. These are people being put in place to, I guess, toe a line, you know, protect the theme, protect a franchise, and do what they're told. What's your thoughts on that?
You're right. You're right, because that's what they're trying to train. You know, I don't have. There's just so much that's going on with this administration. You
Yeah,
know, but I mean, how and you as an educator and me as an educator, I mean, it was just momentous when the wrestling chick, okay, gets to run and dismantles the Department of Education and puts it down under health services. And
yeah,
we were all like, what's it going to mean for us? What's it going to mean for us? It's not what's it going to mean for us. They're making sure that children who are benefiting from those things will not see greatness. But that's why our communities need to make a change in those, and especially like having Black men as teachers, and our community has to make a change. I mean, we do. We have to. We charter schools. Let's. I mean, I end up with my doctorate in educational administration leadership because I wanted to open a school. I
oh,
wanted,
fire.
and so there's a lot of us around, and planning and thinking, and just like they're making moves. They're making moves because they're like, hey, what could you do about it? So why do you put these inept people who are not even qualified to run these areas
Mm,
in government, and dictate
right.
how the whole nation is going to operate in government? You can't,
Right.
you can't do these things. So
Yeah, that's horrible.
it
That's
is.
horrible, it's a fraud. It's a fraud. Can we class action
I don't
lawsuit
know
this
what's
thing?
happening,
It's
but
just a raw. It,
I don't know what's happening, but I'm only hearing like every other utterance. Can you hear me directly?
okay, let me. All right, let me reset it. Give me 1 second. Stay.
Okay.
Peace, brother Mozzie. What's going on with you, bro?
Not much, man. Not much. Just
Hey, Brother Mons.
trying to get in. How y'all doing?
We doing well, man. We talking about, we doing our videos on demand night, and we just showed you a video on the new CDC head, the new director of the CDC, and how that person was not steeped in health. or steeped in any medical or scientific profession. They were just placed in that position. And like you said in your statement on video, you said that, another move in the, progression of the technocracy chain. What's your thoughts on that vid, man? Why did you want us to rock with that one?
Oh, bro, I don't even remember the video, man. It sound like
So many, right?
yeah, because what happens is people send me stuff, man, and I'm like, okay, well, let me, and I just seem to be getting more and more stuff. And, I just, throughout the day, I don't even know when I sent that one. And if a few days has passed, then I definitely don't remember which one it was. But it sounds like it was the what's his name there? The Kennedy guy. Was it one with Kennedy?
Robert F. Kennedy?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Shoot, I definitely don't know which one it is now.
No, it was hold on. I'll grab it. Hold on.
All right.
Can you hear me now, Sister Aurora?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sometimes we gotta reset it, and then when we reset it, we're good.
Okay.
Because I had it and I took it off because it was skipping a little bit, and I had to just read it. I'll pull it up right now. I'll pull it up again though. How you been, bro? Everything all right? Brother Mozzie, you everything? Oh no, he's out. He left. Okay. Hopefully he'll come back. Well, while we're waiting for him to do this, to come back, we're gonna play another video on demand. This is something that my wife sent me, and I'm gonna play it. I don't know what it's about. I haven't seen it, but we are gonna rock with it anyway on the show. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm gonna play this one by Wifey and see what she got, see what she wanted to share with the people. And we'll get to it. Give me 1 second.
This new generation is dirty. They don't care about how they look. They don't care about their outfit. They don't care about their clothes. And I understand some of y'all gonna be like, it ain't about the clothes. Sometimes it is. You got to go outside and look presentable because you are a reflection of me. I went to the school today and I thought it was just my child. All the kids are dirty. All of them. I'm your kid too. Yes, I know you looking like not my kid. Yes, your kid walking around. The little jogging suits y'all buying them hanging off their shoulders. Pants dirty, jeans dirty, jacket dirty. Everybody look like they stink. Like they white shoes not even white no more. Just walking around. They wanted that sandy, dirty brown color. What happened?
All right, we'll get y'all in. I know y'all probably have a lot to say about this. So one of the things as an educator that I've noticed kind of a change over the last couple of years. Here, I'm gonna reset it because I don't know what's going on with this. Why are we lagging so much? Okay. Everybody back on?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what did y'all think of that video?
You started to say too, as an educator. Now, I taught.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that we were lagging, so I didn't finish. But as an educator, I've noticed that, and I've had to do this. Like, our school basically has to come in suits and ties, and slacks, shoes. You know, we allow them to wear like black sneakers, but that's as far as we go with it. You're either gonna have on boots, shoes, or black sneakers. You know, and you gotta wear pants, and you gotta wear a shirt, you gotta wear a tie, and you gotta wear, you know, you gotta be prepared, ready to, you know, get involved in the school environment and learn. But they're coming in with their clothes dirty to the point where we even have to take them, like, you know how, well, not how, but you know, I'm a football coach, so we have access to the laundry room, and we wash the
Mm-hmm.
uniforms, basketball uniforms, whatever, what have you. We'll take them in there and wash their stuff. Like, is it a poverty issue? Is it a discipline issue? What say y'all? What's with all the damn hoodies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
And wearing hoodies in the summertime.
In the summer, 90-degree
In the
weather.
summertime,
What's good with that? What do y'all think?
look, it's even like in Newark, the principal there bought a washer and dryer. And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he, because he's noticing that, as an educator, I mean, it wasn't this bad when I taught. But sometimes, but I always kept the kit, and I would tell, like, sometimes when the girls go in, I said, get the kit, and they would get a bathroom pass to put some deodorant or something, wipe and do
right,
something,
right, right.
and
Especially the young ladies, if they have
yeah,
like their monthly, you want to
yeah,
have
and
something
so
prepared for
I
them.
had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah,
in
for sure,
a
for sure.
clean.
Send them to the nurse office or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, but I didn't want to embarrass them or anything. And so, like, initially when I first started, I said, look, I have two kits here, and I know sometimes y'all run or you're coming in from gym. They have whites in it, they have this and that, or whatever. And definitely some mouthwash or some Tic Tacs. And them kids want to come up there and talk to you, and it's like, holy shoot, how could you leave the house? So but it wasn't as bad as it is now. I mean, schools are actually, the hygiene is supposed to be taught at home,
right.
and it seems not. I've been a while out of high school, but and it's definitely better in college. They don't do that in college, but in the elementary, secondary, high school level too, and the middle schools, they're not being taught hygiene. And I
Mm,
don't know, is it the parents leave before the kids leave for school? Because
right.
like
I was
I,
gonna
I
I was
think
gonna
I
bring
was
that up.
different.
Do you guys think it's a latchkey kid type of deal, or what do y'all think?
Yes. Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
is it?
I think it's a crisis in parenting
Yeah,
Mm, mm,
exactly.
because
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
uh and I think it deals with, especially this generation you're dealing with now, a lot of the parents just don't seem to be engaged with their children. They let
mm.
them stay up late. Yeah, you get some who may take them take a bath, but that's when they're younger. They don't
Right.
understand when these kids get older and the hormones are starting to kick in and go crazy, that it requires extra diligence.
The
Yeah,
And
same
no
as
one,
exactly.
and
yeah.
then another part is what I've observed from just people that I have encountered and working with the boys that I work with, they are not on any kind of schedule. These kids are
Right,
allowed to just freewheel it. So
right,
they're out there
right.
trying to find their way, and laundry ain't the main thing they're thinking about. It's not an issue of poverty. It's just the issue of what are the things that's being instilled in them, and them organizing their lives and their daily lives such that certain things become a priority. I mean, the reality is you should be washing your clothes once a week. The clothes you wore this week, you
Mhm.
wash them. Kids aren't being taught that message.
They're not
Mm,
being
On the
so
hy-
shower every day, you know.
and on the hygiene side, one of the things that I taught, when I teach the young boys at the program is, hey guys, listen. Sometimes life get a little crazy, and you may not have time to jump in and jump out of the shower. I said, but you got to get a rag, soap it up, and you get all the cracks and crevices real quick. I said
Mhm.
you can soap it up, wash your face, your neck, your underarms,
Mhm.
and between your legs. And they're looking at me like I said, or what they would commonly call in some of the movies y'all watch, a hoe bath.
mm.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But that's
Get the
what I
But
gas
say.
station key.
That's what I
exactly. But
With the
what I'm
sink.
trying to show them, but that's important because I know some of them feel like they don't have time. And I'm like,
right.
dude, you don't do nothing in life. Why you don't have time?
Right.
especially
What's
the
going
middle
on in your
school.
world? And that's the part too. These kids feel like because they haven't been taught time management, because they haven't been put on a schedule, they feel like they don't have time for things. I'm like, dude, you just play video games for 4 hours. What do you mean you don't have time?
Right. Right. That's
But
the
something's
BS.
not clicking.
Right. Wasn't you just doom scrolling for 3 hours? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're rushing and they're leaving the house. And I'm like, dude, we even in the program, we take the boys and teach them how to do laundry. And you know what the parents are like? You get half will say, "Oh, I'm so glad you're teaching them that." And I'm sitting there like, "But your kid don't know how to do laundry yet?" But
Right.
we teaching them. But you're looking at them sideways like, "Whew, glad they're in this program because I don't know it." Teaching them about hygiene, and I'm trying to tell these kids, listen, especially the teenage boys, you stink. And one thing about,
That
but
middle school.
but help me on this now. Help me on this. Sweat don't stink.
Right.
Sweat that's been sitting on
Exactly.
the body for a couple days.
Fire. Not like that.
Sweat that's been sitting on the body for a couple days and keep
Exactly.
sweating on top of the sweat stinks.
Exactly. Or unwashed clothes.
Exactly. And then you sweating in them every other day. I said,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to start to smell.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not saying that, because you was sweating that you stink. But if you coming in here and you starting to sweat and you smell like, I mean, just like, I'm going to call like, you just smell like shit. Like what the frick, man? Come on now. Y'all don't smell it. And you be looking at these little boys like,
you
you
ain't
don't smell
lying.
that on you? And the thing is this, back in the day, the peer group would help regulate that for you. So you around your boys like,
Yeah,
yo.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was heavy.
Yeah.
That was heavy. The
But
crew would let you know, yo, you stink, bro.
yes.
Yo,
Yes.
go in the house, hit that water, bro. Like,
Yeah. Oh, take off is your shirt dirty or something? Take something.
yeah,
But here's the
yeah,
problem now. A lot of
yeah,
these kids don't have peer groups
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
because they're home playing
Or they
video
don't have
games.
honest peer groups. You know what I mean?
Right.
They
Right.
got
They
Because
don't want
you
people
know
yeah.
why they ain't
out of
honest?
their
You know why
real
they not honest?
friends that are gonna put them on to some real get down. Like, yo,
Right.
They
And they
ain't,
don't
come
want
to the
they ain't
crib,
to
man.
honest.
be upset with them
Mom's
and
ain't home yet. Come to the crib, hit the shower real
you know.
quick. I'll give you a t-shirt to go home, whatever,
Because your friends used to tell you that,
Yeah.
And see, and here's another thing that goes on. These kids are preoccupied with sexuality in the sense
Yeah.
that everything is no
Yeah.
homo.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we all took a shower after practice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all got the same thing, some bigger, some smaller, whatever. I mean, we never thought about that.
Right.
But because they are hypersexualized at an earlier age, they're very concerned about their parts
Mm.
because of what they see and the stuff that they watching on these shows.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's so
And
hard to
then
have
you throw
a
in,
parent child stay.
and so think about and then the other part is, you know, they just so it's always the no homo thing, but it's like when me and my buddy used to hang out. I remember we used to go to we went to his house afterwards. If we were hanging at his house, we know we just finished playing. Had to jump in
Mm-hmm.
the shower. Like,
Mm-hmm.
here, man, here's a shirt.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
we
how it
share
was.
clothes.
I used to
We
let
share
my
clothes
kids
a lot.
friends do that. I was
Yep.
like, yo,
Yep.
you guys
Sneakers,
shower?
all that. Yep.
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 Yeah,
I
and if you
still ain't
wanted
get
them,
I still ain't get my Patrick Ewins back from my man Matthew. You still owe me them
Matt,
Ewins, bro.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
those were
For
the
sure. For
things.
sure.
Those were the things that we were doing, and now it seems those things they don't think like that, mainly because they don't have parents who foster that kind of thing. It's not
Yeah.
even about instilling it; it's about fostering it, allowing
Yeah.
these kids to know and understand that you need to tell. I remember I used to come downstairs. My mother like, boy, you stink. I should be like, ooh,
Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah.
go
or
back
you.
up there. I do
I
that.
give you a classic story. I give you a classic story. Remember back in the day, when Cosby's on, we used to have the Cosby sweaters and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had to
Mm-hmm.
be, and so you said this place out here in Rochester called 2001. They used to do teen night every Saturday from like 6 to 10. You know, I'm a teenager now. I get to go out there. Me and my buddy just got a license. So, okay, he's driving. Okay, you driving, man? All right. So he come to the house one day, my buddy Alvin, him and Stanley, they come to the house. They waiting on me to come downstairs. I come downstairs, man. I'm just thinking I'm fly as can be. And the first thing I hear, you wearing that?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's all you hear. You wearing that?
Yep.
And then you stop and look. And then you look at your boys, they put their head down. You be like, oh man.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go back and do it over. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We don't have that anymore. Now what you'll get is, because what fashion is now is the price of the jeans, whether they look good or not. It's about the price.
Mm.
And it's about the name.
Right.
And so we got away from things that, I mean, some of these kids think that some of these raggedy, dingy clothes is the latest fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why they look so dirty and dingy. And then the other thing is, we've got away from, think about this too. No one combs their hair anymore. Everyone talking about going natural. No, nigga, that's just laziness.
Mm.
And that's another thing we're doing too. We're building in. I haven't, but in general, you know how we speak. We're building into our children a certain laziness.
Mm.
And that laziness is, I can't take the time to do my hair.
Mm.
Well, if you're going to grow an afro, back in the day, you think about it. I remember back when I was a young kid, man, I used to get the braids put in, you know, and then you can't wait to get your blowout.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you walk around with a little pick in your hand.
You had one of them big blowouts.
Man, listen, I'm gonna put up one day my picture of me, man, fourth grade. I had a blowout with no front teeth. I think it was whatever grade that was, and with my dashiki on.
If you do that, I'll put up my high school prom picture with my high top fade.
I can put up mine with the high top fade too now. With my big old gazelle glasses on, thinking I'm cool.
Yes, sir. Me and 5 of my cats, we knew we was New Edition. You could tell us nothing. we was New Edition for the prom, bro.
See, but you dress because you put on clothes and you say, man, look how fly I look.
Right.
Now they put on clothes, and it's not, the clothes can be the corniest clothes in the world. Think about some of the things they're wearing now, man. They're walking around in clown clothes and thinking they got drip on.
Crop shirts,
as they like to call it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And all because of a name more than anything else. Which brings us into another topic. Yeah. Here's another thing too. Think about this. We know, for example, everyone knows what Balenciaga stands for. Why are we still promoting it and wearing it like it's the hottest thing going?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there's a laziness that goes on in the parenting. There's no values that's being taught. And then some of the younger kids, I think the Gen Xers did a bad job of teaching these kids to be good parents growing up, man. I don't know. Somewhere along the line, something got disconnected. We are not doing a good job.
I agree. I talk about that with my wife all the time. You know, did we as a generation drop the ball on certain things because the youth reflected and the misdirection? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what, Miss Marshall, this show was for you. You are one of the parents that inspired me to do a show because you will come to me for so much, you know, real world advice as a man, trying to help your son graduate and all of the trials and travails that you and your sons went through. And that particular story and conversation was for you and all the other parents that have come to me asking me, you know, to go beyond just being a teacher and give real world advice on parenting, on being men, on being women, on dealing with society and all of it. So I hope that helped. And if it didn't, come on the show and we could talk about it. So we're gonna get into this one right here, right before we get out of here. Since we got Brother Mozzie on.
Mm.
All right. Come on now, pop on. Did it come on the screen?
Did for a second. There we go. Public
There it
hearings.
goes. Dates announced for
Yeah.
RG&E. Okay.
Yeah. So Rochester Gas and Electric is the supplier for all of upstate New York. They kind of have a monopoly on it. We've talked about them on the show plenty of times. What's going on with them? Just like Con Edison has a little monopoly downstate
Mm-hmm.
New York and the city, and RG&E has the monopoly upstate. And they're proposing a super duper rate increase after they forced everybody to get smart meters, and we just saw last week what the smart meters are doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't go back and look at what the smart meters are doing, because the smart meters aren't just in New York; they're all over the country. But
Mm-hmm.
they're proposing this, brother Mozzie. Are you hip to this? I know there was a town hall meeting yesterday on it. I think they want
Yeah,
to
and you
raise
forgot.
gas $33 per unit, and then
Mm.
through per kilowatt unit, and electric is going to be no, sorry, it's the other way around. Electric is going to be 33 and gas is going to be 18. It went up from 11 and 9 to 33 and 18. Out of control, man. That is out of control. And
This is the same thing that happened in California.
right, Sister Aurora, they failed the PSENG quality deliverables test for quality a year and a half ago. They failed it. So how are you a failed?
Wow.
So how are you a failed organization, but you can still get government to approve an increase of that amount? What do you guys thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with, once again, our local officials, man. Most of them don't know what the hell they're in office for or what they're doing. And then the
And
others
the
are paid up.
monopoly.
And others are paid off.
Then there's a
And that,
monopoly, because remember when Joe Kennedy came in and then he says, look, he goes, I'll get your oil or I'll do this, because at the time it was Lyco on Long Island and something else. Then now PSEG. But because we have no alternatives, they don't allow us to get options as much. And so it becomes a monopoly. And so they figure they can do what they want to do. You know.
but here's what happens. What happened to RG&E, which is Rochester Gas and Electric,
Mm-hmm.
those people who live in Pittsford in those areas, who were the executives and that had stocks in there, like former Mayor Richards, they sold out the people of Rochester, plain and simple. So while they're running around saying how they don't like the city and they don't like this and that,
mm-hmm.
and you want to complain about, I always say this to my white friends, some of my white friends. I say to them all the time, especially those my conservative white friends, before you start to really, you focus on what's going on with black people, focus on what your people are doing. Because what your people are doing, your neighbor, the ones you guys hold in high regard, they're selling you out. So while you're over at the barbecue marveling at the fact that he got a 5,000 square foot house, you better believe you may not have a job, or your services may go a certain way to where you're gonna be screwed. And they look at me like, because what I try to do to them is I try to connect the dots. So because they'll get mad at people who are out there protesting, and I'm saying you got to understand what they're protesting before, because they've been able to connect the dots and you guys have not.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is Rochester Gas and Electric has always been one of the highest priced utilities in the entire country for the past 40 years or so. Always have. And now they're getting even higher. Just delivery charge alone is outrageous. And then they don't allow for many of the other alternative sources to come through, in which you would only have to pay on that. And then since it's been sold to Avangrid, which is a company out of Spain, the company in Spain,
I was going to bring that up next.
Don't give two shits about what's going on here.
Exactly.
Because remember, at first it was sold to Iberdrola, which was a company that was like a hedge fund group that specializes in utilities, out of Puerto Rico, and then they sold to Avangrid.
Avangrid, yep.
And
Yep.
and the interesting thing is, in Rochester Gas and Electric at one point in time was on the cutting edge of new technology to bring down rates, which was quite interesting. They got the Grenade nuclear power plant. They got the Genesee River that they can harness to,
Right.
and they used to utilize to generate electricity. We got some electricity coming from the Niagara Falls Dam over there. So we had areas of where we can have cheap electricity, but for some reason they never brought the prices down. But then when you start to look at salaries like the school district, white people who ran these places paid themselves very, very well.
So I have a question for y'all. Do y'all think this is the answer to the new solar push that's going on all over the country and now in New York State?
Nah.
No.
So you think solar hasn't made enough of an impact to warrant what's going on with these rate hikes?
I don't think it has.
Yeah, I don't think it
Because
has.
one thing about solar, and when you really start digging into solar, it creates some more of a environmental hazard than the utility that we're currently using. So when you look at
Agreed.
how they're manufactured, so they haven't. And then the other thing is aesthetics. And the technology hasn't moved forward enough to make people say, "Well, if I live here where it gets cold,
Mm-hmm.
how is this going to really work for me?"
Right.
Well, my opinion is, and I'm glad you brought that up, is mainly because I think that they're trying to offset cost of RG&E having to facilitate itself with all of the new technology increases that are happening all over
Hmm.
the, 5G, 6G, all of the wiring, all of the fiber optics, and they're just, they're making the customers eat the cost of all of that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is now with some of this wireless technology, remember we can charge our phones wirelessly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what's going to start happening is some other technology is going to start creeping in, so people don't need landlines anymore to power their homes. And then
Well,
there's
see,
some
that's why I
people,
mentioned to you what I mentioned about solar. Solar was just one example of alternate energy sources that would
right,
compete with their services, and then I guess maybe they're trying to like head it off at the pass before it gets big. You know what I mean? Maybe they're projecting by 2030 all these
right.
alternative sources will be in place. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just wanted to bring that to the people, and not to mention all these outrageous bills like. I remember they had this big thing, and a lot of my students went through it. And what was it? Just early August. It was about them doing a lot of shutoffs across the city.
Yep.
And they picked these they picked these block months to shut off thousands of people and hold them responsible for these gorged out bills that they don't even know how they got the gorged out bill to begin with. Like it was a businessman on South Street, and he was saying he owns 3 businesses, and he was saying his bill was a certain average per month, and then it all of a sudden ballooned to 600, 800 per business. He was paying like two something a month, and all of a sudden he sees his bill balloon per business to $600 per business, per brick and mortar. And I'm like, wow, what the hell? And they
That
can't
happened with
even
my water bill.
yeah, they can't even tell him why it's happening, but yet they want to shut off all his services when he has like a $3,000 bill for all of his businesses that he's running. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he can't sell enough gum and juice to pay for the electric that they're charging him. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think we take advantage of class action lawsuits enough. I really don't. I don't think we make enough of a stink about it. I don't think we threaten it in like what do you call those? Not town hall meetings, but what do you call those interviews where you do like a interview before you make a big stand? It's called oh man, what is it called? Um
Public declaration.
Yes, I forget. The term escapes me right now, but the point is, we don't use the threat of class action lawsuit enough.
Mm-hmm.
All those people. I mean, just in RCSD alone, if you went in, in aggregate, if you got the parents in aggregate of just RCSD, Rochester, City School District, whose power's been cut off for one, foul reason or another, you have your nice class action lawsuit right there in your hands. You have your nice
Mm-hmm.
press conference. That was the term I was looking for. You hold,
Okay.
They're right.
you
Press.
hold the presser, you put your threat out there, and then you make some folks a little weak in the knees because now you're making them public. You're making their foolery public. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you threaten them
Mm-hmm.
with the thing that they can't really afford, which is lengthy court battles over things that they know that they're guilty of. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Yeah, so
know, I would agree with you 1,000%. But here's the problem you have in Rochester, and this is me, and maybe I'm being a little inflammatory. I don't think people are that bright.
yeah,
There's
buddy.
people who
Yeah,
get it,
buddy.
and it seems like, and what I mean by the people, I mean the people, for example, people in the district. You've, I mean, you're an educator. You've been in the district.
Mm-hmm.
These folks are not that bright about a lot of stuff, man. And it's
Yeah.
not even a little bit of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. They just are not that bright. And
Well,
I'm
they just.
saying, what world do
Are
you
you
live
talking
in?
about Are you talking about the lay people, or are you talking about the administration?
I'm talking about the rank and file.
Rank and file. Okay.
They just don't seem to know and understand what's going on out here in this world, man.
Yeah.
And
They
they're
hand
so easily.
the truth is they hand the mouth with it too. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They
So
hand the
I
mouth
don't
with it
know.
too.
I don't know, man. I just say, we have to really start thinking about this as a people.
Yeah.
Black folks in America, we need to really start thinking about how we're going to power our houses if
Yeah.
something was to happen.
Yeah.
I think everybody should go out, and instead of spending $500 to go see Beyonce, go and buy you a generator.
Yes,
You can buy a generator that can run all the appliances in your house.
Right.
Well, not all
Right.
of them, but the main ones, and a
The main
TV if
one.
you want to have a TV on. But
Your
you can have
lights,
your
your lights, your washing machine, all of it. Yep.
But you
Your
can
heater.
buy one that you can just put a gallon of gas in there, man. It'll last you about 6 or 7 hours.
Yep.
Running your refrigerator. If you got an electric stove, cook some food. Now you can't do like, when you come home and the kids got every light in the house on, they got every TV in the house are going. They got the microwave going. The kids be having everything going on. Your house be lit up like like a nuclear disaster zone or something, man. Just bright. You can't do that. But if you got to,
Speaking of everything lit up, man, did y'all see the new trend going around? I don't know if it's going around where you at, but what's up with the Halloween lights? Is that a new thing?
Oh, we're putting them all over the house.
Halloween lights?
You know about the holiday lights. Now we got Halloween lights.
Hey, man, you got to make that money, man. I keep that money rolling somehow.
As expensive as electricity is, we just talked about it. God,
I know.
Now you got
If they find it
Halloween
like that, I'm about to go sit out on the street corner with me some lights.
Man, I'm about to go to get me some coffee, 7-Eleven, get me a cup real quick, and I'm walking past his whole house looked like Beetlejuice movie. And it's all lit up in the daytime. Like, why is your house lit up in the daytime, my dude? What are you doing?
Oh, man.
Where I was,
and it's all Beetlejuice, right? The whole Beetlejuice scene, and it's all lit up, lights. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, what in the world are we doing? Like, I don't know, man. I know we all need our leisure, but golly, come on. And my man got the grave in the yard lit up, and I'm like, dude. The biggest thing, right? The dude had a freaking person in an electric chair being shot to death. Yeah. Yeah, it's all one big, and it's all operating at the same time. It looks like Willy Wonka or something, bro. It's wild, man.
Hey, maybe he got it like that, man. You live in that gated code. You live in that gated community, right?
If we telling the truth. Not in
Tell
this.
the truth. You know you live in that gated community.
Show you right. Show you right.
Y'all generating your own power over there.
Yeah, man. You know, we rubbing rocks together over here. You know.
There you go, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, this was a great show. We're gonna do VOD, POV part 2 because I still got a lot of videos to get to y'all to show to y'all. So we'll do that again next Wednesday. It's been a great show. Thank you for sister Aurora for coming on nice and early and rocking out with us. Thank you to brother Mozzie. Everybody watching on all our Real HD channels. Please like, share, and subscribe. Turn on all your comments and share. Subscribe also. So that every time we have a Real HD show, you too can jump in and have a higher discussion. I'm gonna say peace and walk with power. Y'all be good. Y'all love on each other. Be safe out there.
You too.
Later.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.